Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1984. Today, we're going to talk about Duck Hunt. The story of Duck Hunt takes us back to Nintendo. We have talked about Nintendo several times before, as they have slowly become one of the biggest names in the video game industry. We last talked about Nintendo in our video on Punch-Out! For Duck Hunt, Nintendo turned again to Shigeru Miyamoto to direct and Gunpei Yokoi to produce. Miyamoto had previously worked on Donkey Kong, Mario, and Punch-Out! Yokoi had worked on Donkey Kong, Mario, and had invented the D-pad. Duck Hunt is based on an earlier toy named Beam Gun Duck Hunt, which was designed by Gunpei Yokoi and Masayuki Uemura. Work began on updating the game to work with the Famicom, with programming being done by Kenji Nakajima and design and art being done by Hiroji Kiyotake. The sound was created by Hirokazu Tanaka. In order to get the game to work on the Famicom, a new version of the light gun needed to be created. This version, originally known as the Video Shooting Series light gun, was created by Gunpei Yokoi and Satoru Okada. This light gun was released on February 8, 1984, released alongside a shooting game named Wild Gunman. The light gun worked by changing the television when the trigger is squeezed. The television will turn all black for a single frame, then all valid targets are turned white while the rest of the screen remains black. If the gun is pointed at a white section of the television, it will register a hit. This would happen so quickly that it is nearly imperceptible to the human eye and would look very similar to a simulated muzzle flash if it was noticed. Duck Hunt is a shooting game. The player plays as a hunter who must shoot a minimum number of targets in each level in order to advance to the next level. The game has 3 modes. In 2 of the modes, the targets are ducks. In the 3rd mode, the targets are clay pigeons. If the player can shoot enough of the targets, there are 99 different levels for the player to play through. After this, the game will not function properly and the player will lose. In the game modes with ducks, the player is accompanied by a dog. If the player fails to shoot any of the ducks on the screen, the dog will appear on the screen to laugh at the player. In game mode A, a second player can use a normal controller to control the movements of the ducks, effectively turning the game into a 2-player competitive game. Duck Hunt was released in Japan for the Famicom on April 21st, 1984. That is the backstory to Duck Hunt. With that now told, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game. This is Duck Hunt. Now, this version of the game, I will say, is kind of a replica of Duck Hunt. It's designed to be played on modern machines using your mouse. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be the best way for us to do it. I don't have a light gun, and even if I did, it is not designed to be played on modern equipment, particularly whatever monitor or TV screen you'll be using will cause the issues, and the light gun doesn't function properly and you won't be able to actually attack anything. So this is a good compromise. It does use the mouse, like I said, which is going to make things easier for me. There will be as the music just kind of kicks in randomly. There is going to be a crosshair, a reticle, basically on the screen that will allow you guys to see where I'm pointed at all times. That would not normally be there, but that is how this particular version functions. But other than that, it functions exactly the same as the original game. So let's go ahead and start with clay shooting. That is the most difficult version, I would say. So we'll play that one, then we'll do some 2 ducks. We don't need to do 1 duck. We'll see what the game has to offer for us. Let's get in. All right. So we're going to start by shooting some clay pigeons, they're called. There we go. Now, if you pay extra careful attention, and I can actually see it, but I know a lot of people can't. I can actually see the white squares where the target is. And based on what I have seen personally playing these games, the light guns were never very accurate. So I'm going to be a lot better at this than I normally would with the light gun. But then again, by the time I got to them, maybe the light guns just had been used too much. But I've never played with a version that I'm like, yes, this is working as intended. There was always some issue. So I'm happy to play it with this version. Doing better in this version than I think I have in any real life version that I played of this game. Yeah, I've already got a high score. I'm already doing very, very well. Now, if you miss in this version, in this game mode, I should say, there's not really, a dog or anything like that. We'll get to the dog. The dog is very important. The dog makes the game sometimes. But we will get to him eventually. For now, we're doing, the more controlled version. Yeah, you gotta get them early. If you don't get them early, then they get a lot smaller very quickly. We'll probably go through round 5, and, if I'm still going, I'll probably just reset the game so that we can see something else. Like I said, with the mouse, it is a lot easier. I'm very good with the mouse. I use a mouse all the time. In 1984, that would have been unheard of, but for me, it's what I do. There we go. Round 4, still got a perfect score. And that's basically it. That's how this particular mode functions. They shoot out the 2 clay pigeons, which are just basically clay flying discs, so to speak. The other term is copyrighted. I've also noticed that they're pretty forgiving on giving me this. Much more than, yeah, there we go. Finally missed one. Much more than I would have thought for the time. There we go. Perfect score through round 5, and I'm just gonna go ahead and restart the game here. There's no reason for me to go further. Alright, so let's go for 2 ducks. That is the version that will be more difficult, but the ducks are really what everybody remembers. After all, it's called Duck Hunt, not, like skeet shooting, right? It's Duck Hunt. So we are here to shoot ducks. And there's our dog. All right, so here come the ducks. Oh, I missed. There's 1, there's 2. I'm not sure how I missed on that first one, but that one I know how I missed. There we go. Yeah, this version's a lot harder, if you ask me. And if you're anything like me growing up, because you did not trust the light gun, I'm trying very hard not to call it by its later name, but by now it's still just a light gun. You just had to walk up straight to the TV and hold the light gun against the TV while you shot, and still hope that it worked out. All right, perfect. Yeah, I will fail at this one. The ducks kind of move erratically. I like the dog. I never got upset at the dog. A lot of people got upset at the dog. I never got super upset at it. But we'll get to the part where that happens eventually. But yeah, this is the harder version. The only difference between this and the 1 duck is that there's 1 duck on the screen, but then of course you can have your friend control the duck, which makes it, a little bit more difficult, but these things kind of move erratically anyway. There we go. All right, eventually I will miss, and the dog will taunt me. well, there we go. It flew away. Yeah, I thought it was going to bounce back. Yeah, these ducks, man. I got one, but now I'm out. Yeah, if you hit one, the dog will not taunt you, but if you miss both, then it'll come out and laugh at you. Yeah, that one is freaking difficult. That's why it's worth more points. And there we go. That should still be enough to go on to the next round. 7. Not a perfect score, but we're doing better. Like I said, I'm doing better with this, but I'm still not trying to like drastically move my mouse in an insane degree. Because I might knock something over if I do that, but you know, should be relatively good here. If I can do... Wow, you guys are moving quick. Wow, there we go. There we go. He came out and taunted me. Well, I got one. Alright, can I still get 7? We got the 2 easy ones again. There we go, doing alright. Still made it. Oh, I thought you were just a hair ahead of where you actually were. Right there and there. There we go. Now, each different kind of duck is worth a different amount of points. But it seems to me when the dog comes up, he's still got, you know, the same ducks every time. Oh, that was it. I thought I had way more time to shoot you. And that's how you end up losing, is that third kind of duck, the kind of red and black one. That one just flies off. What? Kind of red? Yeah, it's not really red, but that's what I'm gonna say it is. No! No! How dare you? Yeah, I never got too upset at him. A lot of people really did, though. Yeah, one of the things is that I can see it, but I know you guys can't, is that the reticle is a little bit behind where my mouse is, and that's also kind of throwing me off. That's why I'm kind of also going slow. If I move it real quick, I can see that. All right, I think I got one more round in me. Like I said, if I was playing this on the original light gun, I would have failed drastically by now. Like, I don't think I ever even made it out of like round 3. But once again, it was because I never felt that the gun was actually aligned or working properly. And I think I have to kill 7 of these in order to make it through to the next round. I easily have the high score, by the way. The high score, I think, was 10,000 or 12,500 or something, like, ridiculously low. Alright, this might be the last round. I don't think I'm going to make it out of this. Then again, they started me with those. So who knows? Nope. Ah! I tried. Alright. Got both of you. No! Ah. And I think I failed. I think I needed 8 to get out of this one. And I think I only have 7. Nope, that was still enough. All right. Oh, jeez. Ah, almost. Nope. Come on. Not doing great so far. I'm only getting 1. Ah, I didn't mean to click twice there. But then again, I only got it on the second shot. Nope. 4's not gonna do it. And that is the game. All right. And then he comes out to laugh at you at the end anyway. And that's the game. That is Duck Hunt. So, with the game now played, it's time to talk about how it holds up today. Playing the game today, I do have to say that I did have fun, but there are a lot of asterisks that kind of go along with that. The first one being, of course, that I wasn't necessarily playing the game the way that it was originally intended to be played. I was using a mouse, not a light gun. But to be honest, I had much more fun using the mouse than I've ever had using the light gun. And I've played this game quite a bit trying to use that light gun, and it just didn't work out right for me. So I had a lot more fun playing the game this way because I feel like it ended up having the result much more the way that it was intended than with a light gun that isn't working properly, which a lot of them at least all of them that I played seemed to be. With that said, it's also a very repetitive game. There's not a lot going on here, so I had fun playing it for a short period of time, but it's not really a game that I could spend a lot of time playing or trying to get better at. There's not really a lot to talk about with this game. The gameplay is simple. It's a basic hunting game, and that is something that doesn't necessarily age well, depending on kind of your point of view on hunting in general. But for me personally, I feel that the ducks are cartoony enough that it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm shooting a real live animal. But that's just kind of my perspective on it. People will have other perspectives, of course, on that. But overall, like I said, it's fun. The gameplay is simple. Something appears on the screen, you point and shoot. We'll talk a little bit more about the arcade version. There's going to be an arcade version, but in that version, you can accidentally shoot your dog, which I would not recommend doing. But in this version, basically there's ducks on the screen, there's clay pigeons on the screen, and you shoot them. And that's basically how the game works. And that's pretty much it. So the gameplay is simple. It works well for what it's trying to be, but it's not necessarily a game I could sink a lot of time into as a result. I think that the graphics are good. The dog is kind of iconic. The ducks themselves look like ducks. Even the clay pigeons that they throw into the air. I don't know why they're called pigeons, but it's basically just a clay disc. They look exactly like they're supposed to. So the graphics, I think, are good. The sound is also very good. It does have basically something that sounds like a gunshot, which is something that a lot of games have not had at this point. Even the little jingle at the beginning on the intro screen was nice. So everything about this game, I think, has aged well, except for possibly the guns themselves, the light guns themselves. I keep on wanting to call it the other version, but the light guns, they did not age well. That control scheme is always kind of hit or miss. It's always kind of been a technology that doesn't work as well as advertised all the time. But other than that, and the fact that it's a hunting game, I think the game has aged well. I would recommend playing this game, if only for the impact that the game had, and we'll talk more about that probably in another video, but this is kind of an iconic game, and it is worth checking out, but if you're not necessarily comfortable with it, just watching somebody do it is probably enough. You'll get a sense in about 30 seconds what's going on in the game, and then that dog, you gotta watch it laugh at you, otherwise what are you doing? Like I said, I never got mad at the dog. A lot of people got mad at the dog. But overall, I would recommend this game for anybody kind of interested in the history of video games as a whole. If you can find a working version, and I emphasize working version, that includes the light gun, whether in the original Famicom version or in the arcade version, I would recommend trying it, seeing if the gun works for you. Like I said, never felt like it worked for me. And that's my modern take on the game. When the game was released, it proved to be popular. The game is often credited with popularizing light gun games in general. Critics at the time had somewhat mixed opinions on the game. While many saw the game as fun, some saw the gameplay as repetitive. In North America, Nintendo released an arcade version of Duck Hunt, known as Versus Duck Hunt, in April 1984. The gameplay in this version was slightly reworked to make things more difficult so that more quarters would be spent. This includes the ability to accidentally shoot the dog. As time has gone on, the game's reputation has remained positive. Duck Hunt will often find itself on best games of all time lists. While the game would not see any sequels or really any further ports, we will revisit the game and its legacy as we continue. With another success on their hands, Nintendo and the Famicom would continue to rise in popularity, and future games would be released by Nintendo for their console. We will continue to keep an eye on these in the future. As for the people behind the game, every last one of them would continue to work at Nintendo and would continue to create games. We will hear from all of these people again as we continue. That will do it for the story of Duck Hunt for now. My name is ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we take control.